We can also have situations where we don't just have fractional dollars, but we also have a fractional widget. So let's say I come into the store, I put down my $4 over here, and the store clerk says, well, widgets are really, really expensive. So instead of giving you one widget, I'm actually just going to cut this in half. You can only have half a widget for your $4. So think of a widget like a chocolate bar or something you can easily cut in half. And say, okay, well, here you go. And I'm like, wait a second, I don't want half a widget. I want a whole widget. And the store clerk says, well, I mean, I'll give you the other half of a widget, but I'm not just going to like put the other half of a widget for $4. I mean, you want the other half of the widget, you got to give me another $4. So I say, okay, since half of a widget is worth $4, it's still a fair trade if the clerk puts down another half a widget and I put down another $4. Like that. So now we can see that I have one whole widget and it is worth 4 times 2 or $8. And this is all that's going on when we're working with fractions in this sort of a situation. It's just that saying instead of being happy with half of a widget for $4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, nope, I want a whole widget. I want to do this transaction twice. I want to buy 2 half widgets and I'll pay $4 each time. So if I multiply by 2 both times, then I see I've got one whole widget is equal to $8, like that. Now, this works with fractions other than 1/2. So let's look at another scenario. Here we go. Let's say we've got 2/3 of a widget is worth $2. So the $2 is easy enough. Here's my $2. Put that down. But the store clerk, I don't know, like widgets are really easy to cut, I guess. So like here's a bunch of widgets and they tell me, okay, you're giving me $2, so I am going to give you back, I'm going to cut these widgets into 3 pieces. Let's do another one just to sort of make it clear. So these widgets have been cut into 3 pieces, but I'm only going to give you 2/3 of them. So here you are. Here's your 2/3 of a widget. But it's still the case that I want to know how much one widget is worth, so 2/3 doesn't do me any good. I need to say, okay, I'm going to do this transaction again. Give me another 2/3 of a widget, and I'll give you another $2. So here's my $2. Here's another third. Here's another third. So, okay, now I have one whole widget, but now I have this extra third left over. And I'm like, wait a second, this still doesn't do me any good. I have to have a whole widget. I have to only be working with whole widgets in order to be able to figure out how much they're worth. So let's try this again. I'll give you another $2, and you give me another 2/3 of a widget. Finally, there we go. So now, by the time I've done this transaction 3 times, I have 2 whole widgets. And now I can see, okay, 2 widgets. That means I want to take the $6 that I put over here and I want to divide it into 2 groups. So one group here, one group here. Finally, okay, I can see a widget is worth $3. So what's going on mathematically here? You'll notice a pattern. I encourage you to play around with this. That if we go back, and so if I sort of reverse this thing, so I did this, so I did 2/3 of a widget 3 times. Notice that the number of times I had to repeat this transaction, the number of times we had to say, I'll give you $2, you give me 2/3 of a widget, I had to do this 3 times, which you'll notice is the denominator right here. That's not a coincidence, because if you sort of look at it, if you divide it the other way, if I say, okay, the widget has been divided into 3 pieces, so if I take this and I sort of do that transaction 3 times, lo and behold, here's one whole widget, here's a second whole widget. So it works for anything when I'm doing fractions. If I just repeat my transaction, repeat what I did with the store clerk, the same number of times it's in this denominator. So in other words, if I multiply this by 3, then this is always going to give me some number of whole widgets. We don't have to deal with these fractions anymore. So in this particular case, I did 3 times, so let's sort that back out again. Here are my 2 widgets. Okay, so I do this 3 times. Here are my 2 widgets. There's my $6. And so we can see here, 2 widgets are worth $6. And if I then go and divide my dollars into 2 groups, I can see that each widget is worth $3, just like so.